Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually.
Yo. Hey everybody, I am one of your co-hosts, Mr. Rob Johnson, and I am with the lovely...
The magnificent.
One
of a kind.
One of a kind.
Shekinah. And you are tuned into the Urban Impact Show. We have been gone for a little bit.
We have, Shekinah, but we had to take some time because we wanted to make sure that we had to, we had everything right. Everything was going well.
Yes. Do some production planning.
Correct. And
celebrate holidays.
Yep, celebrate holidays. Get through everything. But today we come back with some really sad news.
You dropped your phone too. Yeah, there's a lot going on in our community.
There's a lot.
The Des Moines area, DSM USA, and also in our nation.
There is.
And also globally. But the Urban Impact Show, we like to focus on things that are impacting the urban community and just chat a little bit about that. And we invite you to talk with us about that.
Yeah, so please, whatever you do at this time, please go ahead on and share this video, share this live. We want to make sure that we invite you all into this conversation. There's a ton of stuff happening, and just even right here in Des Moines, we have a young man right now missing in Des Moines. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. His name is Abdi. He's 18 years old. I'm not sure how long he's been missing, but let me check through some sources here. But stories have been evolving. At first, there's questions about where he is. At the end of the day, there is a member of our community that is missing. And we do not know where he is, and his family does not know where he is, and his loved ones need him to be back. And so we are asking the community, if you see Abdi or if you hear of him, if he is one of your friends, please reach out to his family and Des Moines Police Department as they are continuing their search for him. That could be anybody's child or anybody's brother, anybody's nephew. And each one reach one. We believe in a community working together to get things done. And it's unacceptable for any one of us to be out missing. We want to make sure we find our folks. So the Des Moines Police Department is looking into the welfare of the 18-year-old Abdi. How do I pronounce his last name? Sharif, yeah. Abdullahi. Abdullah. I'm not sure. His nickname is Abdi, but his full government first name is Abdullah Sharif. And he was last seen Friday before the 21st. In the Merle Hay Mall neighborhood, 5901 Douglas at Target, where he works. So if you have seen Abdi, heard from Abdi, know anything about Abdi's whereabouts, we are asking you to reach out to Des Moines Police Department, or at least talk to someone else and speak with someone that can help transfer that information so we can get some help for that young man and his family.
Yeah. Not only is this young man missing, but we just buried a 14-year-old young man. And then not only did we just bury a 14-year-old young man, but two other young men have also lost their lives here in Des Moines. People, we have to be careful on what we're doing and what we're saying. Things like this, obviously they're going to happen, right? They're going to happen, but I think we as a community, if we continue to rally together and continue to support one another, there's opportunity for us to maybe even put a pause or deter somebody from taking another man's life or taking another young man or another young woman's life. We did not have when Brother Woods was gunned down right there on New Year's Day. Right, we started the year of 2020 by announcing that there was a young 14-year-old young man who was murdered. And that's a sad time really for us as a community. And if you don't see that as something being sad, and I know a lot of people was like, well, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? I think what we have to do, Shekinah, is we have to come together in moments like this and rally around the family members, because then you have to ask the question, who has called the family since what are we, 20, what's today's date? The 20 what? Today's the 26?
26, yep.
So 26 days ago, this young man was murdered. Has anybody checked on the family since then? Has anybody made sure? Because there's moments like these where you need people a month later, 2 months later,
right,
3 months later, and so we definitely are praying for Brother Woods and his family and what's going on there, but also these other two young men, right? They're in a house and all of a sudden gunfire erupts 2 young men's lives. And I know that one of their grandparents were actually members of Corinthian Baptist Church, and then the other young man, his family were members of Union Baptist Church. And so
that just makes me think about life is so fleeting, man, and it is really so fragile, and we take all of that for granted, and we shouldn't, and you want to make an impact in your life and in your time, and a lot of times when people leaving, that those things can be prevented. So we want to do everything we can to prevent people from prematurely leaving here, but also just recognizing that your life has purpose and your life has power, and sometimes we don't think about that. Like, we get distracted with all the other responsibilities we have. I was streaming through Instagram today, and I saw a quote. My girl Lauren Patrick, shout out to Lauren Patrick, you go girl, posted a quote from a fellow podcast person from Twitter. His podcast, or his Twitter handle is Black Tie, BLCKTHAI. And he said, the whole world just shifted off the strength of one human. Your life is an extraordinary opportunity. Never, ever forget that. I feel like that was such a powerful statement. The whole world did shift off of one human being. We're talking about Black Mamba, who is, and of course, his daughter and the people that accompanied them in the helicopter this morning, who are no longer with us. And that caused everybody to stop. That caused CNN, not just the sports world, but, national news figures. I'm sure, of course, we're in Iowa and caucuses are coming up and everybody's focused on that. That's even causing the candidates to stop.
Yeah.
And so just recognizing the power of life,
yeah,
which is something we all have, and understanding the influence that comes along with that, and responsibly using your time and your days to impact your community, your world around you in ways that you'd be proud of.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Kobe Bryant, the NBA MVP, who had a 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers, was killed today when a helicopter he was traveling in crashed and burst into flames in the hills right around the LA area. His daughter, who happens to be 13 years old, was also on board and died along with 7 others.
Yeah.
And so your statement is absolutely correct that there is, like, life is definitely fleeting, and if you do not take a moment to live to just live, then you never know when that life will be up, right?
Yeah.
And so also they talk about this. They say more than 100 voters were waiting to hear from former Vice President Joe Biden on Sunday afternoon at a social service organization called Urban Dreams right here in Des Moines, when one of the organizers announced that Kobe Bryant had passed away.
And that's from the Los Angeles Times?
It's from the Los Angeles Times,
yeah. And
it stunned the crowd. So let me tell y'all, so something that happened at the event at Urban Dreams, where we stepped out and told the crowd that Kobe Bryant had passed away, has made a national newspaper all the way out in LA. This one man is causing all of that. The candidates themselves are even pausing to continue to hear updates of what's going on, because first we heard that it was 5 people, then we heard that it was 9 people, and then they were talking about his daughter, and nobody knew who else was on that helicopter. But these are moments that we have to take into consideration, because you never know when it may be your turn or when it may be your time. So we are, as the Urban Impact Show, myself and Shekinah Young and our executive producer Hal Dixon and from our entire team and our manager Will Sims, and Tennille Thomas and Nikki Hopkins, and some of our new members that are coming on board. We are wishing the Bryant family
definitely
nothing but well wishes and our condolences to them. And LA was still mourning the death of Nipsey Hussle. Mm-hmm. Right, and so they were still mourning the death of Nip, and so now coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Nip, we haven't even reached that yet, and now they're dealing with another death over in LA.
Yeah. So one thing I think is important to mention: there's a lot going on in the world, and when I first heard about this, I'm from Chicago, and so I feel like by default I am Chicago Bulls kind of fan, but I'm not like a diehard fan, but you know who Kobe Bryant is, right? And that's very shocking because he's not old, or he wasn't old, and he wasn't sickly that we knew of, and so that's shocking for him to leave. And he definitely left a great legacy and was beginning to even further that with WNBA and working on things with his daughter. I know there's a cover being circulated all around social, but just expanding beyond the basketball world. So I think people beyond basketball fans are impacted by this. And there's so much going on in the world today. We got political things going on. We have an impeachment process going on. We got people missing in our community. We got lives being taken. We have lives being lost. And I think it's so easy to be overcome with all of that and just feel like a heavy weightedness and to doubt your ability to impact the world around you, or even question, like, what am I even doing here? Yeah. And I think it's really important for everybody to know that the world is better because you are in it. Yes. And you have a role to play. And if there is ever a time where you feel like you doubt that and you would like to change that and you question whether or not you want to be here and you want to talk to somebody, there are people that you can talk to, and that can be a private conversation. And we have a phone number for you: 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255 is just like a lifeline. It's a line that you can call if you are questioning whether or not you should be here, if the concerns and the heaviness of life may be just making you doubt that you have purpose in living and breathing. We want you to know that you do, but if you ever doubt that, you have somebody that you can talk to at 1-800-275-8255.
That's so important, because our mental health is key, right? Yeah. You're so right. There's a lot going on. The passing of Kobe and members of our own community and missing children, and your mental health is very, very key. And we want to make sure that as a show that we're passing on information that you can definitely use to help make you better and to help make our community better. Right. Because you're so right, Shekinah. Having our community is better by having you here with us, by us figuring it out. Shifting gears, by using that, people are dealing with real issues. People are dealing with they got real bills, real problems, Kamala was right when she talked about there's a mom sitting outside of the hospital trying to figure out, do she go back to work because she's about to miss some money? Or does she take her son in through those doors and still pay some money that she don't have, that she's about to miss out on, just for the baby to actually get medical attention, right? And so this is why it's also important for us to vote, for us to show up, and for us to caucus, because moments, and I want to say this real quick.
Preach, Robert. Let's go. We know. It's your time.
I just want to say this real quick. It's vitally important that we pay attention to our local elections just as well as we pay attention to the presidential election. Right. I get that everybody's excited about presidential elections, and I'm excited too. I love it, right? These are exciting times when it comes to electing the next world leader. But also, though, there's 200,000 people in Des Moines. 20,000 people participated in the mayoral election. 10% of the population decided who is going to rule the city for the next 4 years.
Right.
How your money will be spent for the next 4 years.
Right.
90% of the population had no say-so on how their money will be spent for the next 4 years.
Chose not to say
so.
Yeah.
Now.
True.
I do know that I had a couple people say to me, I couldn't get to vote because I had to work. Well, it's actually a law where your employer has to grant you time to go vote.
And you can vote early.
Yes.
You just like waiting until the last day kind of puts you in a little pickle. But yeah, and when we're talking about impacting the community is very important. Everybody's life has a purpose.
It does.
And you can impact the world around you. And we're talking about an opportunity that we have coming up to impact the world around us on February 3rd for the caucus. If you know Robert James Johnson, my co-host, you know that he knows who he's caucusing for. What you may not know is Shekinah does not. I am one of those undecided folks.
She's undecided.
But I was talking with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and he said the only thing we were talking about the candidates, and I'm like, man, I don't even know. He said the only other option you have is to run. And what I took from that, what I took from that was not, hey, Shekinah, run for president of the United States, because as we all know, I am not old enough to do that. What I took from that is not voting is not an option.
Correct.
And so I think I haven't been alive long enough to vote for a candidate and be in this position that I am in now. But I am in this position now where I'm unsure of who I would like to support. And I am pushing myself to learn as much as I can in the next 8 days. Is it 8?
Yep,
I don't know.
Monday.
8 days to figure out where I'm going to be. And I'm not just going to sit back and not participate in that caucus process. So it is tough. If you are one of those undecided people, I am with you and I understand. If you are like, does it even really matter? Been there too. Meet me at the caucus location. If you live in my neighborhood, you'll see me there. If you don't, you won't. But be at your caucus location. We need to knock that out so we can impact our community.
Yeah, let me give you a few rules this year with the Iowa caucus. So what's going on this year is it's going to be a shorter period of time. For those who don't know, if you've never caucused before, caucus is very different from just showing up and doing a primary and voting. What you have to do is you have to get aligned with another group of people, with your neighbors. So your precinct you're going to have a real good chance to be interactive with the neighbors and with the people that live around you. So it'll be a really good opportunity for community engagement. So 3 things I want to point out really quick, Shekinah.
Yes, sir.
When you arrive, each caucus goer will write down their choices on which candidate that they would like to caucus for. So this will help create a paper trail on every single Democratic caucus goer, because in case of a recount, they want to know who was first, who was second, who was third, based upon the sheets, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there will only be 2 alignments. For those who have not caucused before, what happens is when you show up, there's a group of people, and you decide whether you want to go with this group or whether you want to go with that group. You make a choice. If the group you decide to go with is considered non-viable, which means that they don't have anywhere from 20 to 15% of everybody in the room, if they don't have that many people in the room to support who they're trying to support, you have to pick somebody else. This year, there are only 2 alignments. So they are really pushing for you to figure out who you want to caucus for. Here's the other key thing. When you show up, if you're considered uncommitted, there is now an uncommitted group.
Hey now.
If that group of uncommitted people are viable, they will be stuck in that uncommitted group. You will not be able to move and go to another group.
Wait a minute. So that means if the number of uncommitted people, so when you first walk in, before you even talk to anyone, when you first walk in, if there are more people, if there are at least, what did you say, 20%?
You have to have 20 to 15% to be viable. If there are at least 15% of the people in the room that are uncommitted, then they will stay uncommitted? They will stay uncommitted. Here's the rule. I want everybody to understand this.
Redonkulous.
Hear me clearly, y'all.
Donkey of the day.
Hear me clearly.
That's not smart.
If you go to the uncommitted category and they become viable, you are stuck in that category. Now, here comes the second alignment. That's the first alignment. Here comes the second alignment. The second alignment is for those candidates who are non-viable. Those people who have picked a candidate can move somewhere. If the uncommitted group is non-viable, then they can move. But remember, so if you caucus for...
That doesn't sound difficult at all, Robert.
If you caucus for Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Warren, or Bernie, and they are viable for the first alignment, that group of people stay right there. The only people who move in the second alignment are those who are non-viable. Then you pick between those who are viable where you want to go. Okay?
Where can people go to get more information on the caucus process, or like where their location is in their neighborhood, what identification you need to bring? How can they be best prepared for February 3rd caucus night?
So there is a website.
Okay, I was trying to talk a little.
It's so there is a website. I believe it's called iwillcaucus.gov.
I'll look it up.
Or is it called caucus.gov? We're gonna look that up and get it to you. But as an uncommitted voter, Shekinah,
Yes.
what are you looking for?
You know, I really care about under-resourced communities, and I want to make sure that we aren't removing resources from them. I want to make sure that the healthcare industry is not out of control and continuing to skyrocket prices for medicines that people need to live, which is completely insane to me. But I see that that's what's happening, and I'm concerned about what's happening, the future of our economy and like job readiness kind of things, and how that's going to impact under-resourced populations. I know different candidates say different things, and I think when you're talking about under-resourced groups, the ones that are most impacted when there are huge shifts are under-resourced people. So I'm concerned about those people. I voted in my local election, though, so I feel like, the people that's going to come, if I call the fire department or the police, I did my part to put them in there. But our national folks, I will be there caucus night, and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to read these rules ahead of time to figure out what kind of ID I need. And I think I know my location because I go there to vote for most things, and there are usually signs in the yard that say, where you're supposed to be.
Cool.
So I will be there.
Cool. Well, hey, we just want to say thank you all for continuing to hang in there with us with the Urban Impact Show. Was there anything else we wanted to cover today?
Maybe just give them a heads up on some topics that we have coming. And if you want to hear about a specific topic, feel free to comment on our Facebook page. But we are going to be talking about the census, which is coming up and very important.
Yes.
We are going to talk about
$10,000 a person if you to be allocated to your neighborhoods. This is why the census is very important.
Right. So that $10,000 will not come directly to your bank account.
Correct.
But that $10,000 will come to your community to support the community to take care of the people that are within the area, and we need to get an appropriate account for that.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about love.
We're going to be talking about love and
health
sex.
and fitness. Yes. Love and sex and marriage.
Yep. We're going to be talking about
marriage, like the thing song.
We're going to be talking about love, sex, marriage,
health, wellness, fitnesses. Fitnesses. Bless it, Lord. It's a Sunday.
You definitely on the fitness kick.
I am.
I'm not committed yet.
I'm gonna go get my AI friend, and tell him and his mama. Shout out. She has a nice skin.
That dude bigs.
Yes. Lots of nice stuff coming up.
Black History Month is coming up.
Definitely.
Shout out to those, to the planning committee of I'll Make Me a World. Betty Andrews and her team did a phenomenal job yesterday. Shout out to them. They just continue to do something. And let me tell you all, we have to continue to support our festivals, because if we don't, somebody else will be putting on the festivals, and they will not look like what we need them to look like.
And And we should also support our publications. The Urban City Magazine just came out with a new issue, and you do not want to miss this. There are some people to watch noted in the magazine. They're highlighting our last show that we did in December and some other really cool things that impact the urban community. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure you follow Urban City Magazine page on Facebook and keep up with them on the website.
There's a ton of stuff getting ready to come up. Don't forget, look for some announcements about Iowa Juneteenth. This is the 30th year, and we really need everybody to help us participate. The Urban Impact Show will be part of that movement, and so we want to make sure that we're keeping everybody up to date. If you have stuff going on, please let us know. And we are also looking for sponsors for the show. So if you would like to be a sponsor, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. That logo right there in the back can change, and you can go ahead on and be a sponsor for the show. Shekinah, any last words?
I just wanted to say there is a lot going on in the world today, and we want to be a resource for you, and we want to help remind you and reinforce that you have value and purpose in this life. And if you ever doubt that, we know some people that would love to talk to you at 1-800-273-8255. But this is the Urban Impact Show, and we are super excited that you are chilling with us for this little bit of time, and we will come back at you with some amazing topics. Let us know if there are other things you want to hear.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See you later.